So, you've spent months, maybe even years, building something incredible. A new app, a brilliant piece of software. You've poured everything into it. But here's the scary part. How do you stop someone from just taking that idea? How do you actually protect it? Well, that is exactly where intellectual property comes in. It's your essential toolkit. Let's dive in.
To get our heads around this, let's start with a question. If someone walks into your room and steals your laptop, that's pretty clear-cut, right? It's gone. But what if they just look over your shoulder, memorize that unique algorithm you came up with, and walk away? You still have your code, but you know something incredibly valuable has just been taken, and that is the core problem we're talking about today.
And this really gets at the heart of the difference between two kinds of property. On one hand, you've got tangible property, your computer, your phone, things you can physically touch. If it's stolen, you don't have it anymore. But on the other hand, you have intangible property. That's your idea, your code. If someone steals it, you still have the original, but its value, its special sauce, that's been compromised.
So you see, the old laws about theft, the ones designed for physical stuff, they just don't work here. You can't put a padlock on a concept. And that's exactly why we have this whole other set of laws, designed specifically to protect these amazing creations of the human mind.
And that brings us to the big one, intellectual property, or IP for short. At its core, IP is just that, the product of your intellect. It's the code you write, the logo you design, that groundbreaking process you invent. You can't physically hold it, but it is immensely valuable, and it's all protected by what we call intellectual property laws.
I think the best way to think about these laws is like a toolkit. You wouldn't use a hammer to turn a screw, would you? It's the same thing here. Different types of ideas need different tools for protection, and it's not an either-or thing. You'll often use a bunch of these tools together to protect all the different parts of a single project.
So what's in our toolkit? Well, we have 5 main tools we're going to look at: copyright, patents, trademarks, trade secrets, and designs. Each one does a very specific job, so let's see how they'd actually work in a real-world scenario.
And to make this really hit home, we're going to use something you're probably very familiar with, a final year project, your FYP. Let's just imagine you've built an incredible new software package. Now, how do we use our toolkit to protect every single piece of it?
All right, let's grab our first and honestly most fundamental tool, copyright. This is your first line of defense, and what makes it so powerful, and you'll want to remember this, is that its protection is totally automatic. The second you create something original, bam, it's protected. No forms, no fees, it just is.
The name really gives it away, right? It's the right to copy. Now, here's the key thing. It protects the expression of an idea, not the idea itself. And what's super interesting is that term literary work. Because in the eyes of the law, your computer program, the actual source code you wrote, is considered an original literary work. That word original is everything here. So owning the copyright gives you 5 exclusive rights, which is basically total control. You get to decide who can reproduce your code, who can distribute it, who can display it. You can even make new derivative works based on it. Bottom line, you're in the driver's seat. Okay, so let's bring this back to our FYP. The moment you finish writing your source code, and even your user manuals, they are automatically protected by copyright. Nobody can legally copy them, share them, or sell them without you saying it's okay. And remember, you didn't have to do a thing to get that protection.
Okay, so your code is protected. Awesome. But what about the project's name? That really cool logo you spent a week designing? Well, for that, we need our next tool. Let's talk about trademarks. This is all about protecting your project's identity.
A trademark is basically any sign that tells people, hey, this product is from this company. Think about the names Microsoft or Google or that iconic Apple logo. Their entire purpose is to stop anyone else from confusing customers and to make sure that when someone sees your brand, they know it's really you. So for your FYP, if you register its name and logo as a trademark, you stop another team from launching something with a really similar name that could confuse people. It's all about protecting the reputation and the brand that you're building around your awesome creation. Now we're going to talk about the heavy hitter in the IP toolkit, patents. This is where we make a huge shift. We're no longer talking about protecting the expression of your idea, the code itself. Now we're talking about protecting the unique, functional invention behind it. A patent is basically a temporary monopoly granted by the government. They say, for a certain number of years, you and only you have the right to make, use, and sell this invention. But there's a catch. In return, you have to publish exactly how your invention works for everyone to see. It's a huge trade-off. You get protection, the world gets knowledge.
But, and this is a really big but, you can't just patent any old idea. The bar to get one is incredibly high. Your invention has to meet 3 super strict criteria. It has to be completely new, novel. It has to have a real-world practical use, an industrial application. And it can't just be an obvious next step, it needs a genuine inventive step.
Okay, this slide is absolutely crucial, so if you've got exams coming up, listen closely. This is the difference that trips everyone up. Copyright protects the expression, your lines of code, and it's automatic. A patent protects the underlying invention, that new algorithm, and you have to apply for it. For your FYP, copyright covers the text of your code. A patent could cover the new process that your code actually performs. So we've covered your code, your brand, and your big invention. But what about the other stuff? You know, the secret sauce or the unique look and feel of your app. Let's look at the final tools in our kit that help protect all those other crucial bits.
First up, a trade secret. This is valuable information that you protect by, well, keeping it a secret. The most famous example in the world is the formula for Coca-Cola. For your project, it could be a special algorithm, a unique system architecture, anything that gives you an edge because no one else knows it. And you usually protect these with legal contracts, like non-disclosure agreements or NDAs.
Now, you can't just call something a trade secret. To get legal protection, you have to prove 3 things. 1, the information is actually secret. It's not common knowledge. 2, it has commercial value because it's a secret. And 3, you've taken reasonable steps to keep it that way. You can't just leave it out in the open.
And finally, there are a couple of other specialized tools. You've got industrial design rights. These protect the aesthetic look of a product, its shape, its pattern. Think about the unique look of a phone or the icons on your screen. This is all about appearance, not function. Then there's layout designs, which are super specific to the tech industry. They protect the complex 3D layout of an integrated circuit.
So why should you care about all this on a bigger scale? Because ideas and software move across the planet in an instant. That's why we have international agreements, like the TRIPS agreement. They basically create a global framework so that the copyright you own or the patent you file is respected in other countries too. Your protection can go global.
And that brings us to one last thing to think about. We've been talking all about original works and creations of the human mind. But what happens in an age where AI can generate code, create art, and even come up with inventions? What does original creation even mean then? Who's the real inventor? That's a huge question we're all going to have to figure out. Thanks for listening.